No, we've got,
Oh,
we
good.
found a guy.
Oh, good.
There's one for that, but we should add that in there.
Jennifer, is it North Shore Waterline?
Yes.
Okay, I'm drawing a blank. What's the upper West Shore? I think.
Oh yeah, that's further in Lakeside.
Meet my neighbors, Jamie Rubin and Mark Dodd.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Mary Flowers.
Mary.
Nice to meet you, Mary. Oh, I've heard your.
Hello, everybody. Hello, my name's Tim Klusner. I'm the new president, and I am here to call today's Lakeside Water and Sewer District meeting to order on August 18th, 2026. We'll see how well I do today, if I get fired or not. So, we have our agenda. All of the board members have it. It's been published on our website. Agenda here. So I would like to start with that and ask for an approval of today's agenda for August 18th, 2026. So moved.
A second.
You have a first? I have a second. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in opposing say nay. And I hear no nays, so the agenda is approved as published. All right. Thank you. One announcement prior to going into the public comment. On June 16th, we had received this information from Citizens for a Better Flathead. And so we have been in conversations with the district's attorney, reviewing this document that was submitted to the board on the 16th by Citizens for a Better Flathead. And this review is being worked on, and as soon as this is finished, we are going to likely be addressing these things that were presented to us in a future board meeting. So just like to let you guys know that. And that would be the only announcement that I have in that regard. So we will move to the next item on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. Oh, sorry. Well, the most important part, see, I may be screwed up. I'm so nervous. Public comment. So this is the time for the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda. Each agenda item will have its own public comment section. So if anybody is present that would like to comment and talk about items that are not on the agenda, this is your time to do it. And we please ask you to keep your talk somewhere in the 3-minute zone. Thank you.
Mary Flowers, Citizens for a Better Flathead. The packet that I just handed you includes public comments, and actually I have a few more pages to hand out to you, but I'll do that when I finish here. It includes information about the water lease information, which is on your board agenda, and there is public comment on that later. The 17th, we put out a press release announcing that we have filed litigation against Phase 2 of the Lakeside expansion, and we are waiting for the judgment to be entered on Phase 1 before moving forward on appealing that decision as well. In the August 11th Commissioner meeting packet, we've attached that packet. We successfully submitted a petition for redress, and when I say we, meaning your ratepayers, overwhelmingly signed that petition, and it's now with the county attorney, which would require you to go back and look at go through training if it's so ruled valid. We've also included the June 16th demand letter. We believe it's inappropriate, even though we appreciate the update from Tim just now, that it's inappropriate to withhold that information for this length of time. There are time-sensitive issues in that letter. Citizens for a Better Flathead is deeply concerned that this board is being asked to take action on items that lack factual basis for sound decision-making. We think that's a responsibility of each board member to make sure you have adequate information. We're concerned that this board has not held an executive session with its legal counsel so that all board members may ask questions and be sure the actions that they're being asked to take are in the best interests of the ratepayers who this board is elected to represent. We are concerned that the public is not being given access to information necessary to provide informed public comment. We again request the release of all written response to our June 16 demand letter and all documents and information on the current status of agreements with Flathead Lake Club or whatever version of that legal entity have been made in the name of Lakeside Sewer and Water. And I would just close with really sincere public concern that this board appears to be putting the interest of the Flathead Lake Club far above that of your ratepayers, and that needs to be given serious consideration by this board. With that said, I do have comments that handouts I'll pass out with the water lease issue. Thank you.
Mary, is this all just one exhibit? Or one thing?
It's one set of comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Anybody else that would have anything to say? No? All right. We will move on to the next part of our agenda, which is the consent agenda. This will consist of the July meeting minutes, our financial report for this last month, and bill approvals. Do I have a motion to put this on the table?
I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? And I would ask for a vote on accepting the consent agenda. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Hearing no nays, motion passed. We accept the consent agenda and it is passed. Okay, old business. We have an NA in there, so not applicable. We do not have any old business to work on today, so we will go on to our new business section. Our new business section is task order number 12. So I would ask Rodney if you can give us a presentation on task order number 12.
Yes, task order number 12 is part of our, we're moving into the phase 2, which this is the design contract with RPA, our engineering firm, for the phase 2 SBR plant and the tertiary treatment that goes with that. And Rebecca is bringing that up, I think.
Sorry, it's going
Maybe.
really slow.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. I might. How's that?
Excellent.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so this is our, they call them task orders, which is an agreement basically, but it's a task order for the engineering for phase 2, SBR and the tertiary treatment design, which was in the board packet. I don't know if you all had a chance to look at that, but it's the scope of work. This is something that the SRF program has are issuing $1 million of this as grant money. There's also close to $800,000 left over from phase 1 design that's moving over into phase 2. So most of this is all paid for. Let's see the total below of this. I think it's $2,250,120. And so you can obviously see all the different line items and so on, but some of these things have already been done, they've already been working on. So some of these things have even already been paid for, it's just, this is the official contract as we move in, because these next two items coincide with this that are on the agenda, as far as the early work authorization and phase 2 agreement with our GCCM. And so this takes us in, they've already worked on the general design, the layout, the footprint for the ground improvements. They've already drawn up those ground improvement designs for the DEQ. The DEQ's already approved that phase 1 of phase 2, which is the ground improvements. And so this is just the official task order for our engineering firm to continue with that process. If you have any questions on it.
Yes, please. Any questions from the board of Rodney regarding his presentation?
Is that time sensitive? I don't know.
It is time sensitive, just because it coincides with the phase 2, all three of these task order 12, phase 2 agreement, the early work authorization, all coincide with the ground improvements, which the GCM, we already went out to bid, we already approved the bidder for the ground improvements, they're ready to start this. And so part of this contract is engineering, part will be oversight of that process and so on as they get moving on that. And to be able to work with the SBR Aqua Aerobics in perfecting that contract with them for the SBR at the actual plant itself.
And what are the ground improvements, Rodney?
So the ground, in order to build out there at the site, you have to build a platform to be able to support the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a series of engineered holes in the ground, fill that gap between the ground where the bedrock is up to the bottom of the actual ground. There's water in between there, so that it's kind of floating. So it's for seismic activity that can happen, earthquakes, things like that, so it will not liquefy if it vibrates. So you're literally building a platform in order to build the building on top of.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's like piers that are put down in
Yep,
to kind of grab things.
correct.
Okay.
Is that
Alright.
common with this? Going
Well,
on a build platform?
it is out there, so that's part of your first process. You're hiring people, the engineers hire people to go out there and do test holes, find out what the soil's like, things like that to find out, and then you get their report and they say that it's recommended that you do ground improvements.
I see that's a very positive thing.
It's very
It's
important.
lifting everything above the soil, so
Yeah,
it's good.
and we did that on the first phase, so we did that for the headworks and the septic receiving facility. There's too much risk just for everybody if you didn't do that,
Yeah.
right?
No, I see that as positive.
Did the SRF people also review this agreement, or is this something that Chevron's passed on?
No, well, they'll accept this agreement. I mean, they're already working with them. This is really just between us
Okay.
and our engineering firm. The SRF program has given us a letter. They reviewed our financials and our budget and so on, and they've approved our rate analysis as far as us not needing to raise rates in this phase of the project. In other words, the rate increase we did last year for the $30 is enough to cover the $7.5 million loan that will take care of this phase of the project with the SRF program. So they did confirm that and studied our financials.
Okay. Any other questions?
So most likely we'll be seeing something similar to this when phase 3 is imminent.
This is phase, what you might see, this is phase 2. Phase 2 is the big phase 2. That's everything in phase 2. Which SBR is part of that, but in phase 1 of phase 2, we broke it into 3 so that we could keep moving. We don't do everything as far as submit everything all at once.
Okay.
We've submit the ground improvements, the DEQ has approved the ground improvements, so that we can keep moving while we're working with the SBR manufacturer and things like that. So we plan on doing the concrete, if you remember from the rate study, which are the basins for the SBR, which is already, the concrete is being approved, so to speak, by the DEQ at this time. They don't have a whole lot to do with the concrete really, it's just sizing of basins to make sure the basin size is right. So that will be the second phase of phase 2 through the winter, hopefully, if it's a mild winter. And then in next summer, they will do the final phase, which is all the equipment and so on that goes into an SBR plant, and all the drives and the electric and things like that will order, so. So there's phase 2 and there's 3 phases of phase 2.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Questions? Okay, public comment. I think you've heard our presentation on.
A quick question. Would you mind explaining what SVR is? Just, it's an acronym for.
Sequencing bioreactor.
Thank you.
Yes, the terminology
Yes.
is different. So,
Lots of acronyms.
so we'll entertain public comment on this item.
Again, Mary Flowers, Citizens for a Better Flathead. This agenda item is an example of the public not being given adequate information to comment. The whole reference that Rodney just made to the agency approving your budget, looking at your financials, providing you more documentation, that should have been attached to your agenda so that we could more effectively comment on that. Again, on behalf of the ratepayers of the district, I am extremely concerned that you are committing to expenses that you are being, that you don't know that you will be able to complete this facility given the litigation that is still pending. We had hoped early on that you guys would sit down and figure out a way to resolve legal issues up front. You've not done that. And I want to remind this board that you only have approval for 200,000 gallons per day discharge in this discharge permit that the judge has just ruled is legal, that we're getting ready to appeal. That 200-gallon per minute has already been allocated primarily to the Flathead Lake Club, not to the ratepayers, to the Flathead Lake Club through agreement that we are also challenging. 66 some gallons, 1,000 gallons, 660 gallons per day, I believe, is allocated. No, it's 60,000 gallons per day is allocated towards the septic. You are building a plant that you don't have a discharge permit for, in the sense that that 200,000 gallons that has been approved is already allocated. And we, again, feel this is irresponsible of this board to continue to move forward without providing the public a clear, transparent set of documents so that we can comment in a meaningful way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Do you have anybody else that would? By the way, if you can state your name and address too, I forgot that part when you do the public comment. We appreciate that. But we know Mary. Hi, Mary. Any other comments on this item from the public? None? Okay. I would then call for a motion to put this item for a vote by the board.
I move to take this item for a vote from the board.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second? Okay. And I will call for a roll call, or not a roll call, excuse me. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor say nay. Aye. Say aye too, make sure we all heard that.
Okay.
One more time, I'm gonna do it right. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those in favor say nay.
Opposed.
Opposed. Thank you for that correction. The motion passes. And we go on to the next one, thank you. Yes, former president, if I have my nomenclature wrong, would you
Sorry.
correct me, please?
You're just fine.
Okay, the next item is Phase 2 agreement.
Yeah, and so what this agreement is our GCCM, our construction manager, which is Swank, who is managing our first phase of the project, the collection system also. And this is a similar agreement to that we did for those two items. So it's between us and the general contractor, construction manager. This is for the aqua aerobics equipment and the ground improvements. And so the reason we're doing the equipment in this one is because of the lead times on the equipment for the SBR plant itself, the concrete and so on that I mentioned that they'd be building this winter. That's stuff that obviously happens here in the valley with contractors here in the valley, but all the equipment, once it's got like a 30, sometimes 45-week lead time. And so we want to include that so we can get it ordered. There'll be a down payment on it, but the final payment doesn't happen until the equipment's delivered. And so we have to enter into that contract with Aqua Aerobics, which is part of RPA's process with the agreement you just passed previously. But we put this on the GCCM contractor to take care of that part of it. That way they follow all those items through the whole project. In other words, they will enter into a contract with Aqua Aerobics. You got all the switch gear, all the variable frequency drives, the blowers, all the parts and pieces that go into a SBR plant would be ordered. And then Swank, being the general contractor, would follow that all through the process as those items show up, to make sure they show up, make sure that they're following through why something might not be showing up when it's supposed to be showing up, which is the part that they play in this whole process. So, this, and by the way, these lines that are in here in the crossed out sections, these are parts, they carry the previous agreement through, and so they just cross out what does not pertain to this part of the agreement for this section. We'll go down to the dollars, and again, this pertains to the $7.5 million SRF loan. So you can see here the Aqua Aerobics equipment procurement and ground improvements. So this would be the equipment package with Aqua Aerobics, and the contract price for the contractor to build the ground improvements and pad to support the SPR and the solids handling building for $6,166,575. Okay.
So that's that number one in phase two.
What's that?
This is that number one in phase.
This is the phase one of phase two. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole phase two
Yeah.
process.
Part 1.
Yep.
Yep.
So they already went out to bid. They already went out to bid on the ground improvements contractor. We already received those. We reviewed those. We selected the contractor that's going to build those ground improvements, and so they're ready to get going on that after we approve it, so we can stay on schedule as far as getting it done.
Those prices came in pretty good over on the ground improvement.
They did. They actually came in close to $1 million cheaper than we thought overall. And so we're hoping to, carry that through all the way to the end would be nice.
So this part one of 3 parts, $1 million less is where they're coming in at.
Correct.
What the original estimates were.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. Any other questions?
Rodney, I'm sorry, you at the very beginning mentioned the 7.5 loan. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so the SRF program,
Uh-huh.
right, that's state revolving
Right.
fund, low interest loans. So in the last month at the presentation of the rate study, there was different phases of when certain money's gonna be
Right.
needed. And one of those was this right here, which is a $7.5 million loan, which the SRF program and bond council both reviewed, and we suggested to them that we have the rates to cover that, so we don't need to go out and find more money to cover that stage of the project.
Thank you.
Rodney, I have a question, page 10 in here, it's the contingency allowance, GCCM, it's all crossed out. Typically with contracts, there always is a contingency, maybe it's 10% or 7% or something like that. You said in the beginning that this kind of flowed over from phase 1, and then these are crossed out, meaning that there's not a contingency allowance on this section, or what does it really kind of mean when it's crossed out like that?
Well, I think the contingency allowance was specific to that part of the project, the first part of the project, but they're still operating under this 4.5%.
Okay, yes, that's where I was gonna go, because there's
Yeah.
still the 4.5.
It's still the
sitting in there.
4.5%, exactly.
Okay,
And, yep. And
so it's not that there are no contingencies, there is still a 4.5, just this certain language is what's not.
Correct, like, yeah,
In
that, exactly. So
Okay.
if you see here, they've got their GCMP 4.5%,
Right.
263,000. And then, there's, in this part of the project, there aren't a whole lot of contingency aspects to it, so to speak.
Mhm.
But those parts that they struck out were not part of this phase.
Okay, so strikeout literally is a strikeout,
It's a strikeout.
okay.
Yeah, so typically you have a contingency when you don't know what you're gonna find,
Yeah.
but here they obviously already know what they're gonna find since we did the geotech in advance. So that's why they're not needing additional contingency money set aside.
Okay.
And the equipment's been selected, so it's
The
all been
equipment's been
selected,
selected, yeah.
right, through the engineers, like, what type of pump we're gonna use. So we've already got the equipment bid from Aqua Aerobics, so we already have those in place. So the parts and pieces that they will order in this contract has already been chosen.
Hence, a reduction of about $1 million versus what the original estimate was.
Of the ground improvement.
That's
Yes,
ground.
Yep.
because they've got some of this now figured out and nailed down.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? No? Open it up to public comment. If you have some public comment on this item, please state your name.
Again, Mary Flowers, Citizens for a Better Flathead. I would ask that my prior comments on the prior agenda item be carried over to this one as well. It is my understanding that DEQ is saying that you have already submitted a phase 3, you've got phase 1, phase 2, and that you've already submitted a phase 3 for tertiary treatment. The public has not been made aware of that. I don't know if this board's been made aware of that. But every time you're submitting something, it should be posted on the website. The public should be alerted to it. We shouldn't have to come in and bird dog every single thing to stay on top of what is happening. And again, we are deeply concerned that this board is moving forward and leaving the ratepayers in the dark, and that is not acceptable, particularly when the liability that these ratepayers are taking on is huge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Do we have any more comment from the public here? Seeing no comment, we'd like to ask for a motion to vote on this item.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kathy, all right. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you.
Sorry, I can't get anything to pull up.
Yeah, it's,
It's on his third screen.
Does that mean we're taking a break?
I'm gonna use it.
Okay, our next agenda item is early work authorization.
yeah,
So Rodney, please.
again, this is the kind of the third part here. This has to do with the aqua aerobics equipment and the ground improvements. It's, again, contract for phase 2, work authorization number 1. And so the way these work authorizations work, again, we have phase 2, which is broken into 3 phases. So because it's an early work authorization for a portion of phase 2, so this is number 1, and then when we go to do the concrete, it'll be early work authorization number 2, and then there'll be a final work authorization for the completion of phase 2. So, again, you can see it spelled out here, authorized work, it's just authorized, they'll complete all work that is specified. Work package number 1, the aqua aerobic equipment procurement, and Lakeside Improvements Phase 2 ground improvements. And this is just more about the wording, all the words that go along, contract times, you know, how long they have to get this built, and if it lingers on, it's gonna cost this much per day if they go over, and all those kind of details are in this work authorization. And so this is with our GCCM, and,
Just like
yep, which is Swank, and then it just lines out the items in more detail, guaranteed maximum price for this shows you the aqua aerobics equipment procurement, which is $3,194,000, and it just kind of goes down the line on how we get to that $6 million.
Again, this is not in addition to what we just voted on. This is
It's
just more detail of it.
It's just more detail of the same thing that we just voted on. It's just more in greater depth to authorize them. We entered into a contract with them, and now we're authorizing them to move forward with it as far as ordering the equipment. It just shows the greater detail of how things get itemed out here to come up with the $6,166,000.
So for some clarification, this is the second part of the item that was right before us. That original item authorized the contract.
Yep.
This item authorizes them to essentially step foot on property, on premise, and start the work.
And order materials.
And order materials.
Yep.
That's the differences between these two.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to kind of put that out there so everybody kind of understood what page we were on
Yep.
in that sense of understanding.
So this is something that gets worked out between our engineers that we hired and the GCCM and myself, as far as, there's some items on here that we, as far as these items below, as far as payment, how much they're charging for something to relocate their trailer complex. to be able to do the work where we may have went in which we did, actually, we went in and negotiated some of these prices to get there. There's, you know, because this is for ground improvements and for the aqua aerobics specifically, the subcontractor doing the ground improvements carries most of the burden on doing this job. Aqua aerobics carries most of the burden, you know, once we order it to get the materials here when they say they're gonna get it here. So Swank, who is our GCCM, you can see their contract price basically at 4.5% is $263,000 for this part of the project. And so we did kick back on some of these items that they had, and they did reduce some of the items and agreed with our point of view on it.
Okay. So their fee to herd cats is $263,000.
Correct. That's at 4.5%.
Okay. Do we have questions from the board? Darcy, any questions? All right. I would like to have public comment. Anybody have, from the public, have comment on this item?
Mary Flowers, Citizens for a Better Flathead. I would again ask that our prior comments on the prior agenda items be included under this agenda item as well. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else out there have a public comment that they'd like to add? Smiley faces, that's a good comment too. So, all right, no other additional public comment. I would like to ask for a motion for a vote on this on the agenda.
I so move.
We have a motion to move from Mark. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second from Darcy. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And the ayes have it. Okay. Next on the agenda is Phase 1, change order number 6, septage. Rodney, please.
Sorry, I gotta keep doing this. Yeah, so this is a change order on the septage building. This is actually a credit for $2,243. The fence contractor at the septage facility had all of the fence posts. It was bid with concrete for every post in the fence. And basically they came back and said, you know, this is, with the way the soils are here and everything, you really don't need the concrete in every fence post. We'll just do it in the corner posts and where the gates are and so on. So everyone agreed to that, and so we have a credit of $2,243.
Okay.
Anything adds up?
And this is over in the septage facility. I see that they do have fencing up and
Yep.
gates on there and pavement on the ground.
Yep, and the gates will be operational today,
All
the
right,
code.
great. Okay, any comments from the board? Questions from the board? No? I'd like to ask for public comment. No comments, questions from the public on this item?
No comment.
No comment?
Always like a credit.
That's right. So, yeah, I guess I'd like to ask this for a motion. All those in, so somebody put the motion up there. Who would like to have some money back?
I moved it.
Darcy makes a motion to move it. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second, yeah, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And I say aye. I did not get hurt. Okay? The ayes have it.
Okay.
And bless you. Okay, Next item on the agenda, Phase 1, change order number 7, Headworks.
Okay, so just remember the credit.
Oh, remember that we just got money back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
okay.
remember that. All right, so the first item on this is for the Headworks facility, the gas meter cover. And so the gas company, basically, even though this is under an overhang, where they're installing the gas meter, if we have a 2-foot overhang on the roof, they're still requiring a small roof over the gas meter to protect it from ice and things like that. And so it's an extra thing that they demanded, and this is what it costs to do it. $5,641. And then the other item for the Headworks is the exterior duct work for the walkway. And it's for $17,537, and I'm gonna show you a couple pictures. And this is something that basically I brought to their attention, and along with our operators. So the HRV, which is a big, let's get this from this angle here. This is the door that you enter the Headworks facility in right here. You can see way down here is another door. You can see where the siding changes there. This is the pump gallery and all the control room, all the electronics, everything are in here. All the big equipment is in here. And there has to be a separation in the wall on the inside because of the gases and so on for the electrical equipment. So that's why you couldn't do a door on the inside going through that building. You have to go out of the building, go down and come in that door. Well, this is the big HRV equipment. So what that is that's exchanging the air in that building so many times every hour to keep that air fresh in there so the gases don't build up. So it's a filter system. Well, they designed, you can see the sidewalk right here that goes down to that door. And there's also a big generator on the other side of this piece of equipment. And so basically the way they were gonna do this, and I caught them ahead of time before they finished it, but you'd have to walk out this door, go all the way around this whole thing to go get in the other door. And there's gonna be a lot of activity coming between these two doors on that sidewalk. And so I feel like it was definitely an engineering mistake that they made. They should have caught that. If there's a sidewalk and we gotta get down to two doors, we wanna be able to walk on that sidewalk. So in order to do that and change that, because you can see they have bracing and so on that holds this stuff up, it's these things are larger than you think. They're like 40 inches each way. So there's two of them. So they have to special order these 90s to be able to change this. So I asked them to 90 out up here and come down and into there so we can walk under these and get to that door. Unfortunately, it costs money to do it, and there's a lead time on that to get those. And so the Swank asked if I could approve it, which was a week and a half ago, before the board meeting, so that we could get that stuff ordered and coming, because we're closing in on the deadline to complete, and the electrical contractor or the HRV contractor who's doing that thought that would put us beyond the completion date to wait for those 90 elbows, so they wanted to get them going. So I approved them to go ahead on this particular change order to move forward. So
In other words, we're just moving it up,
we're
and
moving.
then across the sidewalk and then come down before the unit.
Exactly, so they'll come down, they'll go out and come down and in so we can walk back and forth underneath these.
Is this something that will wear, that it have to be redone periodically? These
The
this
ductwork?
Yeah.
No, they'll last a long time. I mean, they're meant to be.
What's your idea of
So what they do also to these, they insulate them. So that's the other thing. We caught them before they insulated, before they actually connected them to the machine. but they have they wrap these things in like an 1.5 inch insulation so that they're efficient and don't lose heat and so on. But yeah, I mean, they're meant to be 20-year type stuff, yeah.
So they're moving it up and then ordering more elbows
Yep,
to make it come back down.
and some bracing, there'll be some,
Okay.
so they'll have to change some of that bracing, the way it's attached to the wall. So again, I just, that's something I brought to their attention. One of the operators, I took Cody out there, Cody mentioned it, we looked at it again. This one here, you can see is a little higher. It's actually, I'm 6'2", I can't walk under it, I have to duck a little bit. We even suggested, can we change one, but they said if you change one, the other one's not high enough, then it wouldn't be the code. If in other words, if you're gonna be meant to walk under it, it's gotta be meant to walk under it. And so they have a certain code that they have to stick to. So we had to raise both of them.
Tall people code?
Tall people code.
I'm not part of that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't catch that themselves.
Yeah, I know, I wish they would.
Live and learn, right?
You know, I'll tell you the difference with some of this, and there's a lot of aspects to this, but Swank, the project manager on site, he's built a lot of these, and he's come to us throughout the job when they're going to do something, and he sees some operational thing that he's like, hey, I noticed this, and before we do it, I would suggest that maybe you might want to do this, because when you have to remove this pump, for example, you're gonna have a hard time getting it out of there.
There was something on the inside, I remember he suggested that.
Yep, and so
Couple months back.
he's caught a few things ahead of time, and our engineers told us ahead of time too. They said we're really good, but there's always a few things that
Oh, yeah. Well,
that we miss, and this is one that they missed for sure. Because I came to run like, how do you design a sidewalk, through there and then block it? Why would you choose to do that?
So I assume they didn't charge us for redesigning it.
Yeah, they didn't charge us, right? So, change orders aren't cheap just because, I don't know, you don't get a whole lot of say, they, as far as cost.
Ronnie, how are we doing? So the right terminology in our change order budget, shall we say?
Well, we're still, we've only dipped into the contingency on this job, on this part of the job. You can see the headworks right here. The original contract price,
12,749.
original contract price was
12,690, yeah.
12,690. We're at 12,721. Or sorry, 12,744 with these changes.
Okay.
So I think we had $1.5 million in contingency on this job. So I mean, we're really doing well as far as change orders go on a job this size.
For your experiences, you think this will be the last thing, major?
As far as I can tell, we have all the equipment. I've walked, most of the equipment is installed. We just received the septage machine itself that goes in the building. So once that goes in the building, all of the electrical equipment has been installed for the most part. So we're on the closing stretch. So there really shouldn't be a whole lot more.
I have no problem with this, but I would hate to see something else pop up, because we're staying in a positive economic mode all along.
Yeah.
I'd like to have to see, we'll write another check,
Yeah, I agree.
What percentage of it do we have left to be done with this phase?
About, I think we're probably 18-20%
Left.
Done,
left
left,
to
okay.
complete.
So we're 80% done.
Yeah,
Phase one.
Yep.
of phase one,
Phase
and where
one.
this is where we're sitting number-wise at that, okay?
They expect to, in fact, we're already gonna have a startup, for part of it in, mid-September. And so they're already talking about startup dates. They're on schedule to be done mid-October, completed.
Do you think that's pretty
Okay.
firm?
Yeah, so I'm feeling good about this. As far as,
It's too much
as
to
far
know.
as big changes, you know, if there could be a small something somewhere, you know, but
Okay.
most equipment is already here, already been installed. This is just one that we kind of walked right into, so to speak,
Yeah,
right?
with your head, you tall people.
Yeah.
All right, any other more questions?
No questions.
from the board? From the board? Like to entertain public comment on this item? Comments and
I just had a
questions?
couple questions on that. What was the additional cost then
Can you
for-
state your name just
Oh,
so I
I'm
know the
sorry,
record?
Jennifer Tipton, North Shore Water Alliance.
All right, thank you,
I
Jennifer.
didn't catch the additional cost on this last change order. I mean, for that second part. So the
It should
roof-
be right here, 17,537.
Okay. And then, you said that was the engineering mistake. Is that RPA that did the engineering on that? Or was that subcontracted? Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Moving the interior or exterior ductwork.
Okay. Any more questions? Going once, going twice?
I have a question, but I'm not sure. At the very end, Randy was talking about additional costs, but he didn't state what those costs were. But I didn't hear it well enough, and I don't know, Randy, if asking it just broadly like that, if you could go back and clarify what the costs are.
I don't understand the question myself, but.
Like these types of costs that are on here, Mary?
I'll have to go back and listen to the tape and
Okay,
come back.
all right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. I would like to ask for a motion for this one to be put up for a vote. Phase one, change number order 7, Headworks.
I move that we accept change order number 6.
We have a motion to move it. Do we have a second?
I second.
Garcia has a second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And no nays, the ayes have it. And this is passed. Okay, we have one more in the new business section. Water rights lease agreement.
Okay. So what this is, as you're all aware, the water rights for the Territory 1889, a Discovery Land Project, Flathead Friends LLC, south of town. The original water rights for that development, once we enter into an agreement with them for sewer, part of that is when we do subdivisions with sewer, we don't allow them to own the water system. So it's basically, we don't want a separate private water system in a sewer development that we have. So part of that, then in that agreement, is that we own the water system. And when that happens, we have them apply for the water rights in our name up front. So that we don't have to go through the process in the end to change, once it's built and turned over to us, we don't have to go back through the DNRC process to change the ownership name, because it's time consuming and costs money. So we generally do that up front in that case. Those water rights have been challenged And so they're in court. It takes a long time to go through the NRC process for those challenges. And talking with them and the schedule that they're on as far as their phase 1 and 2, and just when those finish, when our project finishes and so on, and to build houses, they need water rights to serve those portions of the project until they go through and finish out the end of the lawsuit that they're in to get the original water rights, which they will continue in that process. In the meantime, we have, I think at one of our meetings with Bulk Water, had given you guys, showed you kind of and included it with the agenda and so on that, as far as how many acre feet of water that the district has and how many acre feet of water that the district is using. And so basically we have a lot of acre feet of water that are just sitting there that are already approved with it. We're only using about 31% of our acre feet of water. And so they came to us and asked if we would be willing to entertain it, have our water rights guy took a look at it, Brad Bennett with WET, who did our original water rights. I worked with him on that when we combined Lakeside to the Troutbeck Rise, and we brought all of our 5 wells under one water right and extended that place of use to within the district boundaries. Which was quite a process back then. They've made that process a little bit easier nowadays, but so he's well aware of our water rights and how we got them, and so they're all under kind of one umbrella now. And so basically, the difference with this in leasing water rights, which we have a right to do, to enter into contracts and agreements, whether it's to lease property or lease water rights or whatever, the board has that capability to do that. We're leasing water rights that are already spoken for, as far as, right, the ones they're applying for up there right now that have been challenged are new water rights, right, to pull water out of the aquifer. So these are water rights that are already spoken for, they're just sitting there. And so basically we came up with the water lease agreement, which we looked at, is there risk to the district as far as tying up some of our water rights for a 5-year type lease agreement, possibly 7 years. Even so, they're requesting 125 acre feet annually, which actually puts us, if we did that, it puts us in total acre feet that we're using around 51%. So we'd still have 49% of our water rights to still continue to use for, if we were to extend to a development up here, or we were to do something new in our district, which is still a lot of water. So the next question is what is that water worth to? And public opinion as far as what is that water worth, what benefit are we getting? There's a couple benefits we're getting. One is it's a benefit to the ratepayers and so on to see that project, because we're already in an agreement with this project for wastewater, to see that continues forward, because then we're going to have more ratepayers and more money that's coming into the district and to our new treatment facility. The other benefit is, I talked to Brad Bennett from WET. We researched kind of, try to figure out what is the cost to lease an acre foot of water. There's a lot of stuff out there on selling water rights, if you were going to sell them outright and get rid of them. There wasn't a whole lot on leasing the water rights. They offered $250 per acre foot which would have been around $32,000 a year. And Brad thought that was pretty reasonable for what they are. And basically, I was looking at it more that what is regardless of what we think is fair of a dollar amount, is what do we need, right, to feel good about leasing our water rights. And so I kind of weighed it against a full-time employee per year, because until they get that system up and going fully and get houses built and their ratepayers coming in, we still have to have a staff member. We're ramping up our hiring to be able to support that and the treatment side at the same time. So I came back to them with $500 per acre foot, so I doubled their offer, which comes to $62,000 something per year, which would cover a full-time employee for these next 5 to 7 years. Our extra acre feet are just sitting there doing nothing, and also that they would pay any legal fees and defend the lease agreement and defend us if there was any lawsuit filed against this action, if we were to take it. And that's about it, really, that I have. So I felt overall, it's in researching it with the water rights, our water rights council, I know I met with Tim ahead of time just to kind of talk through it with him, see what he thought. And this is kind of where it landed for you guys to have a discussion.
Could you go back where it says initial term, I think I saw as you were scrolling down?
Was it?
Okay, initial
Number
term.
6.
So the lease would be for
Oh.
5-year back
Yep.
window at a time?
5 years and then.
And renew it every 5 years?
And then, you're right, it's 5 years commencing effective date plus parties agree in writing that,
Yeah, that's it.
with an option for 2 additional years. On, down below number 7.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Do they have any, I should know this, but being new, I don't. Do they have any base rate for sewer water or any of that in the agreement that you have with them already? Or they don't pay
Once a
anything
house
till they
hooks,
hook
once
up?
a house hooks up, as far as for their water and sewer service?
Just for the division itself,
Before a hookup.
before a hookup?
For an individual house to hook up, you mean? I'm just
Right.
trying to understand if that's what you.
Does Territory 1889 have any kind of fees they have to pay for example, for the golf course? Or
Oh,
we have no fees in place for them at the moment until they have a house, is that correct?
so they have plant investment fees that they're paying for
Right.
the agreement?
They already paid it.
Latecomer, so they paid the latecomer fees for phase 1 and 2, and they just paid the plant investment fees for phase 1 and 2?
Which is for the improvements, correct?
No, that's just the buy-in, that's everybody
Okay.
buying. If a house hooks up, they have to pay a plant investment fee.
Okay,
And then the rates, so the water rates and so on, that, like when a house hooks up there, right, they'll come pull a permit from us, and right now it's all set up for a 3/4 inch meter. So we had kind of have that all set up for them. We're still gonna review that and we're still putting costs together. They may have a separate rate from what we pay down here, because of the extra things that water system has. For example, example would be chlorination. There's some booster pumps up there that we're going to subcontract out as far as the maintenance on those, the annual maintenance. And so we'll do a cost study on that. We're getting all those prices in right now of what that takes, and then our cost. And we'll come up with an actual base rate for their water, we'll come up with a base rate for their sewer.
how are you gonna know how many acre feet of water they use per year?
There's a meter. Yeah,
There is a
so
meter.
it's production meters on the well.
Okay.
In fact, in the agreement, we would need to, the DNRC will require us to do that. Once they review it. It'll have to go through the DNRC review process. So this is just our agreement with them. Once, if we sign this agreement, then they would submit a process with their water rights people to the DNRC. And then that could take 9 to 12 months just to even get to a point of even going to public comment for them. So it's still a process. The DNRC could come in and say something that we don't even like, and we may not do it because it might reduce our water rights, right?
I am concerned about that.
Yeah.
My big question, and you kind of mentioned it, but if you could elaborate, how does it benefit the current ratepayers
$62,000 a year for a full-time
to pay
employee.
for a salary? And pardon me, because I'm naive, when I look at that per 1,000 gallons, I mean, it's less than what ratepayers have to pay per 1,000 gallons.
Ratepayers pay for 1,000 gallons, $2.
When we use it, $2. This at $500 comes out to $1.53 per 1,000 gallons. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it and see why we want to take any risk. I understand to help facilitate that, but, and I apologize because I'm still trying to wrap my
This is
head
what
around it.
this is all about,
Um,
you can, yeah, it's okay.
We have no other water lease agreements in place for the district, do we?
No,
So it's kind of a brand new thing.
we lease other things, so we
Yeah.
lease, so leasing is
Yeah,
we lease
leasing, but
farmland and-
I mean specific to this, we have nothing
specific to
in
this,
place.
no.
Yeah, and this lease payment would be in addition, I mean, if we actually had a house being built, this lease payment is in addition to the water user fee that they would pay.
Correct, this is totally separate.
And what are the fees that they have already paid now so far? Do you know a total
Yes,
number
so,
between?
yeah, but
or a rough number?
don't fully, but I can give you the approximate, so
Mhm.
it's a 6, 7, 8, 9, close to $1 million they've paid for their plant investment fees and latecomer fees to this
For
point.
phase 1 and 2?
For phase 1 and 2, so phase 3, 4, and 5, they'll still have to pay latecomers fees and plant investment fees.
That's phase 1 and 2 of the development,
Of the-
not 1 and 2 of the.
No, no, no,
plan,
that's
right?
of their
Just make sure we know
development,
that's
yeah.
different. Okay.
Their development. And then they're paying for these upgrades, like what's going on down Lakeside right now, that's $4 million there. And then the rest of it will be close to $28 million to get out there.
The other thought I had, which again is naive, to lock in a rate at $500 concerns me over the term of 5 years. A lot of times when you lease something, it steps up in price too. I just feel this is a great benefit to them, but I feel it should have significant value for the district and the ratepayers.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I negotiated it higher, for one, to show the benefit. When I say the benefit is $62,000 a full-time employee, that's not the only benefit, right? So it's also the fact that we're already in an agreement with them. And so the benefit that to us by them continuing to move forward is because we are in a partnership, so to speak, with them already. So it is a benefit because of the other fees that they will be paying if the project continues to move forward in the right way that it was intended to move forward.
So can you address the concerns that, I forget his name,
Brad Bennett?
yeah, that Brad was addressing?
Yeah, his primary concern in there was that we need to monitor it as it goes through the process, with the DNRC. so that in that review process, the DNRC, which he will be involved in, the DNRC, he's saying, we wanna, in other words, you don't wanna let that process just happen and not monitor it. Because the
Right.
DNRC could potentially come back with something and say, well, hey, if you do that, we wanna reduce your, you know, your flow rate, for example, to something else, right? So, and the risk in that is just not paying attention. If you don't pay attention, well, we're gonna pay attention. So as far as that goes, I think he kind of covered that, is that are gonna be there, and we're gonna pay attention to that. So, that's really the primary risk in the whole thing, is just making sure that you follow that process through that 9 months of review, being in the meetings. So when we did our water rights here in Lakeside, and I worked with him on that, it was a 2-year process. I attended the meetings at the DNRC with him. We walked through those. We argued things. We worked through that process, and that's basically what he's saying. He's just saying we want to be a part of that process, not just leave it up to somebody else to do that.
Are there other comments?
Yeah, I've got some.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of dovetail on some stuff that you said, Darcy. So the plant investment fees, kind of go back here a little bit, I liken those to impact fees. So people out here are probably familiar, I know Mary's very familiar with impact fees. So that's essentially what they're paying, they have paid, is those fees to help us build the infrastructure that's going to help serve them and the rest of the district.
Some of those are for that, some of
Yeah.
those are because they're buying into a system that was already built by others.
Correct, right? Latecomer fees.
Latecomer fees.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's, I've always kind of likened those to impact fees that we
We
use.
just don't like that word.
I know, it's a nasty word, but yeah.
Yeah.
But it does, it's because you're paying for an impact
Yeah.
that happens. So that's one thing I was gonna kind of bring it up. When you talk about the ratepayers, and Darcy, good comment that there's no houses built up there yet, so they're not paying what ratepayers are paying right now. But when that happens, when the houses do get built, now they will be paying for their water because it'll be metered out. So that additional payment will come in. The $62,000 is the development that will come in as well. So that kind of will become 2 income streams, whereas this is just one of the very first one. One of the things I see with the risk of it, of if not giving them the ability to start pumping water, does not give them the ability to build homes. Not having the ability to build homes then means you're not putting more ratepayers on the system, which that is a benefit, is we want more ratepayers on the system to start making it help pay for its way. So the idea, you've got to have water to be able to flush the toilets and to build the houses to flush the toilets, essentially. Look at it real simplistic in that way. This helps them get to that point as a temporary gap until the adjudication of the water rights is over. So I think it's a benefit for each of us, and I think it's a benefit to the ratepayers because it helps us get some homes on the system paying down the road. But a safety gap that I see in it is not item number 10, Rodney, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's that regulatory approval which you talked about quite a bit. If this agreement is an agreement to move forward essentially with it, they won't ever pay us the $62,500 unless they really get approval from DNRC, which is this regulatory approval section. Correct me if I'm wrong. So
Correct.
if something happens from going forward and their DNRC is not has problems in approving it, or the DNRC comes back and says, yeah, you know what, we'll do this, but we're gonna reduce something else in your flow, your other rights and something like that, that's where we have the ability to say, okay, stop, we're not going forward with it, because then it becomes a detrimental issue to us. So that, I see that as a safety valve in this,
Correct.
is having that regulatory approval done by the state. Which I think is a good safety thing to have in here. And I also look at it is our water, water's very, very important. The water's also an asset, and this is a way to leverage that asset. You could say use money in the bank, but this is not money in the bank because we've never monetized it. It's just sitting there as the ability to use it. So having the ability to monetize that and use it to bring on an additional employee, which ratepayers would not have to pay for, I think is a positive thing to look at. Once the houses are up there built and they're flushing their toilets and washing their dishes, this 5 years will probably go by, and then now we are on as a ratepayer, their employees come in, and then so it's gonna kind of flip over and start paying for that, those FTEs that are taking care of it, those full-time employees at that point in time. And hopefully by then, the adjudication, litigation will be over and decided where that comes. And if they win that, they do get, we as a district get those additional water rights that are going to come on. So we won't be at 50% or 51% use at that point in time. So it's kind of how I'm seeing it. I'm just kind of the way I'm thinking through it. I do know from my prior life that anytime a developer does drill new wells and hooks into an infrastructure, a water system, that water system always retains the rights automatically. I don't know of any system that doesn't do that. Even HOAs do that as well. The HOAs retain the rights, not the individual homes or anything like that, when they have their own water systems. There's a lot of water systems around the valley too, so. So it's kind of my read and my take on it and everything. It's something new, and it was something out of the box thinking about it, so.
What would be the worst case scenario for regulatory approval? Do you anticipate?
With this, the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Based on everything, I just don't, I mean, obviously somebody can file, you apply for with the DNRC, they're gonna go through their review process, then they open it to public comment, right, just like anything else, so that could take 9 to 12 months to even get to that point, because everything moves slow in the DNRC. But once it goes there, somebody can file a lawsuit against it also, it could linger, but it's, it is different, because it's water that's already accounted for, that we're talking about, we're not trying to come up with new water.
Are you familiar with any other water systems in the general area that do this, at least out there?
I don't know,
Okay,
I
just
just,
wondered if you
they
knew.
could,
I
I just don't know, yeah.
What do you do?
So I just have a few questions too, and maybe some comments. I mean, typically, what are water rights giving you, or what are they for? I mean, you probably know the answer, Rodney, but I don't know if everybody else knows it. I mean, typically, it gives you a piece of paper that you can take the water out of the ground someday. So it gives you a right, I guess, to have it, but it's not a right forever. It depends your timeline when you drilled it, when you have the water rights for it, and then you have to. If another guy is older than you in water rights, they potentially have a way to tell you can't use your water anymore. Even you may have the right, but the other guy is older or has an older right, then he could basically ask you at some point if his water runs dry, that you have to shut your water down. The other thing is, I mean, what do we do with water rights in reserve? I mean, and I think Rodney alluded a little bit to it. Typically, you can't get water rights in reserve. I'm not quite sure why we have it, but it's a good thing to have. I think because typically the NRC gives you only so much water that you actually can use and going to use. What they have said and found in the past is there have been farmers, not just farmers, but there's certain industries, and farmers is one side of it. They had huge cattle ranches with huge water rights. Well, they don't have the cattle ranches anymore, maybe. So they don't use that water anymore. But that water is still reserved.
Still sitting there.
It's still sitting there, it's allocated, nobody's using it, but nobody else can use it either. So it's one of those Montana things, water rights. It's not in all the states, it's just Montana has a different water rights thing. And then the other thing is also typically, like, when I know, like Kalispell, if they purchase a new piece of property, or if certain pieces get annexed into the city, if there's water rights on it already, like for a farm before, then or for private use, the city of Kalispell says, we want your water rights, they're now ours. So that's part of the annexation negotiation. If you wanna come in, you have to give us those water rights. You have to transfer them to us as a city. So we obviously have some because we had originally, there was multiple water systems here, and I think we just ended up with it. Which is, again, in my view, is a good thing, but typically you don't have that. And then the last thing is, I always look at, so you have existing water rights that you typically you want to hold on to. And if any new project comes in, just like the Discovery, they are actually going to go through the water rights process. And yes, it will take years, maybe, but eventually they'll have the water rights. And then those water rights go to us too, in addition to the water rights that we're now leasing them come basically back to us, or I mean, they're still in our hands, so we're not really giving anything up. We're borrowing them the water for a while.
Loaning them.
Correct, loaning it, but they still can't use it because they still have to pump it. That's
Right.
the other thing they still have to build. They have to put all the infrastructure in, and then once they start using it, then they pay us the additional fees on top of the water rights fees.
Yes.
So is that about-
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
really good, and maybe it brings up a point, because it came up in our discussion in this, because, and it might help you a little, Darcy, too, and, if a subdivision was gonna build right up here on Burning Creek Road, and they were gonna connect to our water system, but yet they still had, and they had 50 homes subdivision, or 100 homes, whatever it is, they're gonna connect their pipe, and they're gonna say, do you have the water rights to serve this subdivision? Right, we would look at this and we'd say, yes, we do, right? And so we'd work out that agreement, you're gonna build your infrastructure, they may not need to drill another well or build a tank or anything like that, they're just hooking up to us. And then they would annex their property into us, we would have to go to the DNRC and change our place of use to include that property. But we wouldn't be building any new tank, but that's what our existing water rights are for, are things like that. So the only difference to this is that it's disconnected from us as far as a pipe goes, right? Because they're not gonna connect into our existing water system. Ever, as far as, right, not, their subdivision is being built, the water system is being built completely separate as a standalone system.
So we're just leasing them the right to use that water, even though it's not connected to Lakeside technically.
Correct. Correct.
It is connected for the sewer, though.
It is for the sewer, and there again, and it sounds silly, but why don't they, hypothetically, they're getting the right to use 125 acre feet. They should pay for that right to use it the same rate we pay, which is for water, $2 a 1,000 gallons. I think, instead of $1.53, because they should pay the same rate we pay to use the water.
Correct, but that's in addition to.
In addition,
So
but
they-
right now, we're giving them the right to use up to that whenever they're ready.
And then they will start paying for.
And then if they hook up individually, they should pay a bit to give them the right. And I could be wrong, which is more like 81,500 a year.
Right. So in the way, though, that I feel you're talking is that each house that hooks up is gonna pay that $2 per thousand.
Once
just
they
like-
hook up.
Just like you do, right? So they're not even gonna use any water in this process until a house is hooked up. So
What
they're
about,
paying,
how are they gonna water, what are they gonna use?
this is not irrigation water, this is water.
Simply
that-
for houses.
This is for houses.
Why is that such a big amount for houses then?
It's-
If we're only using 31%.
Yeah, well, it's because Lakeside is only what is it, well, 500 and some houses, right? So we're going off of volume, right? So Lakeside does use irrigation and drinking water. Okay,
So
so
we're
they're,
just leasing for the houses,
they're
how are
the-
they gonna get water to irrigate all
that's
their
a
other stuff?
separate issue that they're dealing with. Yep. They have irrigation wells, they have different ways that they're going about their irrigation.
And I apologize for taking so much time.
You're fine, that's what this is
I
about.
just feel concerned about it. I think it's valuable and we should be charging more for it.
There's existing well up there already that I know of that they use to put their water trucks to water the road.
And that's our water right.
I believe that is existing wells from prior owners of the
Okay.
property, so.
So that's not within our water right.
This is strictly municipal water for drinking water for their homes.
Now, where does that come from?
Our water?
The municipal
Oh.
water for their homes?
Yeah, so they have two wells up there, and that's why they have to go through the process. There's two different things. There's acre feet of water, and then there's flow rate.
Okay,
We do not have the flow rate to serve them, so
Okay.
they will use their two wells, or one well, or whatever it is, and they will have to mix that in the DNRC process. They'll take these 125 acre feet, they'll tell the DNRC that they want to use the flow rate, because it's just, we're not using the water that we have available to use, so they're just gonna use their pumping apparatus
okay.
for their flow rate. So they'll have to go through that process with the DNRC to make that happen.
And I'm sorry for everyone to take so much
You're
time, but
sorry, it's all good, it's
I
just
think
good
it's a
stuff.
big
I got your
question.
number. It is 81,500.
You got it.
I had to do the math.
Thank you for your explanation. Okay.
That was a good point, actually, because because I forgot Phil to mention, the 128 5 acre feet has nothing to do with flow rate. So they have to bring their, because they're not connecting a pipe to us. So it's not our wells producing the water.
So how are we gonna know? You're gonna put meters up on their wells?
We are not, they are. They're building the water system to our specs.
And they're just gonna tell you what they're using?
No,
Well, we're reading them.
those meters are gonna read directly to us.
Okay.
Yep. So
I think the DNRC, the regulatory approval will require
They'll
those to be put on there.
mandatory.
and then-
We do that right now with
Yeah,
our
they'll have
wells.
to be recorded in DNRC so that they don't overuse.
Yep. So Rebecca does a report, every, how many months? You send to the DNRC with our well reports.
You don't get paid enough.
Every year.
Is it annually?
Every year.
Yeah, and they could require it every 6 months, they could do
Yeah, that-
whatever they
that's our
end up
current.
doing in their review process.
Just to explain a little further, that's where we're gonna end up. Eventually, everybody, even a single family well, will have that meter on it. That's where the NRC is pushing for now. So,
I've heard that through the entire state.
everybody.
Especially with the compact, and everything.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard that. Rodney, I have two questions. Does anybody else have a question?
No, I'm
The dollar amount. What's your thoughts on us going back with a dollar amount of like 81,500?
I have no issue,
No issue? Okay.
because we could simply, if you guys chose to pass it under those conditions, then that would be my negotiating, and say we will, the
Okay.
board has agreed to pass this, but they
Okay.
want $81,502.
33 cents.
At 33 cents.
And a Coke, free Coke.
Yeah, so, yes,
Okay.
no problem.
And then the second one, item number 17, defense, this super important piece in here, just to confirm. And we have had an attorney, our attorney looked through this, so it's not like you bought it, you didn't get this on wateragreements.com.
No. Our attorney was involved in this negotiations, every word of this document.
Okay. So that defense indemnification, so we come to an agreement, they come to an agreement, we move forward with, if I'm reading this correctly, they will take care of, if there's a lawsuit filed because of this agreement, they will take care of defending that,
Correct,
is what that is?
correct.
And they will also take care of defending the current litigation that's going on for their water rights that has been put forward as well.
Correct. Correct.
So we are covered, their defense attorneys, they will cover and move forward if something happens.
Correct. And the filing fees with the DNRC and so on.
They take care of those
Yeah.
permit fees and all of that. Okay, because that's very important as well, to have that coverage.
And I think that should change if the $2 per 1,000 gallons for the taxpayer changes. I think their rate should change too in that 5-year course. Do you follow me? Where we got that?
In a year, like 3 years from now,
3 years
that's
from now, if the
$2.20?
ratepayers are paying more, then I think that
So a
this.
sliding scale?
Yeah,
I don't know if they will, I don't know. Are rates projected to change in the next 2 to 5 years?
Their rates could be completely different than
not
yours.
theirs, I just mean ratepayers in
Yeah,
general.
Current ratepayers' rates.
Not on the usage fee. We have no intention to raise, at this point, raise the usage fee.
Okay, so unless we did a rate increase, that will remain the
The
$2 per
usage fee.
thousand.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it should still be stated that the usage fee should change, theirs changes too.
So this, okay, just to be clear, just so I'm clear, the 81,500, because I wasn't paying attention to your math or what you guys were doing
Oh.
over there, but are you saying that's for the 125, that's per 1,000 gallons?
that's per, yes, so the way,
$2.
the way I got to it, the
Okay.
way Darcy, I think, got to it as well, you take 326,000 gallons, you multiply it by 125, because that's acre feet, you get your number there, you divide by 1,000, and then you multiply that by $2.
And so
And so you get
you're
81,500.
recommending that if the usage rate changes in the district
At least,
for the ratepayers, then that fee would
Change as
escalate
well,
that same
yeah.
amount. I mean,
That's what you're saying,
I
yeah.
would certainly, if that's the way you guys want to push it forward.
it's
then,
just a thought,
And those are amendments, that once we have it on the table, we can entertain amendments. Okay? Any other questions from the board?
I just looked up my smart ChatGPT and it says between $50 and $300 an acre foot is a normal rate. But whatever that means.
Okay.
They have different tiers in the store.
It's probably not Phoenix's rate.
But it's Montana, western Montana.
Yeah, okay.
I think this is a win-win, you know, this is money that we just have basically buried in a hole and we're gonna take it out now. You know, and they're gonna have to pay for water rights, just, or water, not water rights, for, the same as we do, so.
Okay. Any more questions? No, I will, would like to entertain public comment on this item.
Margaret Davis, Lakeside. I'm concerning that, first of all, this deals only with groundwater and not the application, the initial application that preceded this was for, both for groundwater and surface water for the Flathead Lake Club development, and that's under consideration. So now we're just talking about groundwater resources that already exist in the district. I'm concerned that there is an exclusive relationship between the district and this developer, and that the relationship between offering water or leasing water should be based solely on individual potential ratepayers having that responsibility, and that there is no exclusivity, no special treatment for one particular developer over potential growth of the rest of Lakeside. Or, on the opposite extreme, another event like 2008, when real estate tanked, and you have a development of new facilities, etc., and your base of ratepayers can't sustain the payments that you're going to have to make for loans and construction and all those things. So I think the other thing that possibly is needed is contingency protection for the district within the agreement for liability if something goes wrong and you have any relationship to responsibility for the district. That should be very clear that this arrangement does not expose ratepayers to further financial exposure in multiple projects and special treatment for one developer. So the monitoring relationship between the district, Herder, WET's recommendation and a DNRC directive involves the direct district in a curious sort of partnership that I'm not sure that's the benefit the district or the ratepayers. So I'm glad that you are examining this agreement carefully and considering all the downside along with this short-term contract for 5 to possibly 7 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Another?
Kate Droll, 501 Archery Road. I'm asking the board to table the lease today. Not because a water right lease isn't feasible, but I think it's inappropriate at this time. And I think a lot of the discussion here today centered on information that you do not have in front of you. Can you tell me which DNRC change approval you're going to use? Can you tell me what forms are going to be required? Can you tell me where the point of diversion is going to be? Can you tell me, given the, I think there's 7 or 8 listed water rights on Exhibit A, the allocation of water, the 125 acre feet amongst those rights, they have different priority dates. Priority dates, as Mark brought up, are going to establish importance, and the interests of the existing ratepayers and protecting their water supply needs to come before providing this to a new subdivision south of town. I think that you should table it. I think that the applicant, Discovery, Flathead Friends, or I guess it's the sewer district applying, but they're going to apply the paperwork. You can get consent for that as the landowner and apply it that way. And then once you have the information from the DNRC, you have the approval, you have the facts, you have the specifics, then you can move forward with the lease. The lease today functions as like an agreement to agree to which you do not know those specified terms. And I think moving ahead with this would be inappropriate. There's a memo that WTET put out, and it shows that there's 635 acre feet authorized. I think Mark touched on the fact that that's reserved, or reserve rights, or water rights on reserve, which would be different than, does that mean then it doesn't have to go through the historical use analysis to determine like what the district has historically used? you might not be able to answer that, but I think that the board should understand that and have a clear idea of that, because the DNRC typically, if there is a change application or a new application, even if you have rights on paper, that doesn't mean that you have the rights to use it unless there's been historical use established. And I think we need hard numbers for the board to understand, like, how many of these rights could be actually leased or assigned or transferred to somebody else without jeopardizing the current uses of the district. Rodney touched on that there is no flow rate component to this 125 acre feet, and that would need to be established. That's another unanswered question. Okay, you do not know right now whether or not the DNRC is going to approve the change and the point of diversion to this new well, whether or not a new application is going to be required. The WT email touches on, there's actually two components for this. One is a change application and the other is a new application for flow rate. Yet at the same time, the WTE email says that this is being explored as a process because of the legal availability challenge to the other applications. You don't know right now whether those same challenges would apply to like a new application. You're looking at a 6 to 9 month plus timeframe. That's what Rodney and Mark said. So why is the board entering into this agreement today to agree to something down the road when it doesn't have to? There's also, I noticed, 18, governing law. We are looking at Montana 20th Judicial District in Lake County. Why is that? Why is the choice of law or the venue going to be in Lake County instead of Flathead County? The district is in Flathead County, the subdivision is in Flathead County, the water rights are in Flathead County, the parties are in Flathead County. Venue would not be appropriate in Lake County. I mean, I do think Darcy is correct that, you know, you guys already had the discussions about increasing the amount of the lease. We also have bulk water rates, which are much, much higher than what our ratepayers pay. And nobody considered that. So I don't know, my request is straightforward. Take up the lease. If you need a consent from Discovery to file the application on their behalf and to even provide that indemnification, that is an option. And I would encourage you to explore that instead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kane.
Can I make one observation? You know, I still think this is a good idea because we're tapping into a resource that we've had for a long time, obviously.
Kathy,
And we haven't.
let's finish, let's the
I'm
public.
sorry, go right ahead.
Okay.
I got you wrong.
Do we have another more public comment?
Yes, please. Jennifer Tipton, North Shore Water Alliance. I agree with Margaret and Kate's comments. I also, you know, Ronnie said that it is a positive for ratepayers. But I question if it's a positive for all ratepayers. I have been sitting in on the Summers Water and Sewer District meetings for the last over a year now, and they have subdivisions within their boundary, I mean smack dab in the middle, that are unable to, you know, they're running into capacity issues with water and sewer. And I understand their ratepayers to only under sewer, but, you know, they have to drill a new well. They have a subdivision that is now wanting to put in their own water system in the middle of Summers Water District, because they don't have the capacity. They need to drill another well. You know, would you enter into an agreement, a lease agreement like this with them until they could get their water well drilled and their water rights for that? I know with sewer, you guys had initially approved the entire Steamboat Landing subdivision for wastewater. Then you walked that back to only phase 1, maybe phase 1 and 2, I think only phase 1. And then, entered into this, you annexed in Territory 1889, which is outside of the district, representing, having a certain capacity, but yet Summers, you had an agreement with them to hold a certain amount of capacity within, reason, up to, I think, 900 EDUs, and they're not even to 400 yet, so not even half of that, and now they're told that there's no more sewer capacity, maybe a few houses here and there within their district, and this is like smack dab in the middle of their district. Yet, it definitely gives the appearance that you're giving preferential treatment to this subdivision that, until questionably annexed in, was outside of your district. And then your ratepayer on the sewer side is unable to give the capacity to the subdivisions within their district, that they need to complete their water system. It's just concerning to me, so I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
I too agree that this should be tabled and that you need more information before entering into any more agreements with Flathead Friends LLC.
Okay, thank you. You have another comment?
Do, and some more handouts. Again, Mary Flowers, Citizens for a Better Flathead. I too wish to support the comments that have been made previously. I think Maggie's point that this has become an issue of, and I'll expand on that to say that we believe this has become an issue of kowtowing and special service to a subdivision that is not even legally annexed into your district. You've refused to respond to the demand letter, and yet you're putting this on your agenda prior to even resolving whether or not this subdivision has been legally annexed into your district. The ratepayers have a voice in whether or not that subdivision gets in, and you're, again, moving ahead. The only benefit of approving this lease today is to allow that Flathead Lake Club, or whatever they're calling themselves, to go to the county and say, oh, here we have our water right, now you can grant us our final plat. You are playing politics with your ratepayers. The ratepayers need to see clear transparency, and to move forward with this without answering our June 16th letter, without really being transparent, and I appreciate the amendments that are being considered, but all the questions Kate raised to you, there is no reason to move forward with this at this time. It should be tabled, and all of these questions need to be addressed first. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more public comment?
Ill prepared, but very interested. I'm Margaret Goff, Lakeside. And I've heard that this is obviously, water is just such an important issue. And Mark, I very much appreciate what you were saying and others, all the way around the room actually. There's great concern, I think, about when we say we have the Lakeside Water and Sewer has so many acre feet and we're using 31%. And yes, isn't that ideal? And I'm glad we have it. And that would take it from 31% to 51% as far as allotting water rights, if this were to go through with, what are they calling themselves now, Flathead Friends? Or Associates, I don't know. At any rate, I think I'm very much on the side of tabling this, not that I have a vote, because the graver issues of how much water will we have in the future? Gosh, I'm glad we have it now. But those older rights may come in, and then you have all those horrible battles of, well, I was here, but I have this family that they need to flush the toilet. Okay, that's done. We're in a very, very shockingly dry, and the climate change, whether one agrees that it exists or not, something is certainly going on, and we don't have a lot of water. So I think to err on the side of caution and perhaps wait and get more answers, get more information, hopefully that will clarify. Part of what we're all dealing with is crystal ball. And you can't really come up with absolutely sure answers. But my 2 cents is development is happening, but let's be cautious. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more public comment from anybody?
You guys need a ride. I gotta go.
No? All right. Okay, then we will go on and ask the board what is their pleasure. I believe if we, pardon? Kathy, did you have a comment?
Well, I still think that this is a good thing, theoretically. I do think because it's new and we don't know a lot of things definitely, that perhaps, is there any way we can have this reassessed on an annual basis or biannual, or, I'm not enough 5 years, but just to see what, if the rates need to change or don't change, the amount that's available change or not. Is this gonna be an open-ended thing, or?
It's not,
I mean, it could be anything now.
well, it's not,
Analyze.
yeah, I mean, that's what the discussion's all about, and public comments for you guys to, right, to entertain everything, but it's not open-ended, it's 5 years with the possibility to extend it 1 year at a time up to 7 years. So 7 years is, or until a time that they do obtain their own water rights, which will be in our name. So it'll be our water rights. So it's not open-ended, it's not forever. It's, this is the agreement for that period of time. Now, as far as costs, though, like the 81,500, right, attaching that to the usage rate that the Lakeside customers pay, which is $2. And if that goes up, then this goes up too. I don't see any issue with that. If that's something you guys want to amend in there and you decide.
We can make any
Like
amendments.
reevaluate as,
You could make that as an amendment
yeah.
as we go forward.
I think that would make probably just about everyone more comfortable if it was looked at more often than every 5 years or 7.
Well, before we can make any amendments, we have to make a motion and bring it up.
I got
Have a
another
second. Go ahead.
comment too, just regarding and I think Rodney touched on it, the concern that, maybe he didn't quite want to touch on that, but the concern is once you open up or review, like Kate also pointed out, an existing water right, there's a potential that the DNRC can say, oh, why do you have all that water? You really don't need this. And I think Rodney made it clear, Ron, that they're gonna be part of the review process and part of the negotiation process of the DNRC with WET or WET. So, and that gives us, and there's an out in this one, in this agreement right now. This I foresee only as a first step, but there's an out in this agreement that if it looks in any way at any time for us to be detrimental to go forward, that we can pull out without penalties and any other issue. So that's why, that protects us, I believe.
Good point. Which item governs that in here?
I don't remember
I thought it
without
was
reading,
10.
but
wasn't it?
What number was it?
10.
We were-
10 is regulatory
Yeah.
approvals.
Isn't that the one where you, either party could,
Authority,
Use
which one?
Is that okay?
10?
use the covenant.
10 sole expense borrowers, neither party guarantees any governmental approval will be issued. If required approvals are finally denied, either party may terminate this agreement upon written notice. The lease may retain all payments received notice. I think there's another spot in there too. I'd have to keep reading through it, but we definitely have the right to pull out. The other, default termination, voluntarily breaching, that's about. Time and manner. Oh, okay, so if a default is not timely cured, default parties agreement may pursue any remedies available, and parties acknowledge that impairment of the water rights may cause irreparable harm, and that injunctive relief may therefore be appropriate.
I believe number 15 is your default termination.
There we go. Yeah. You know, one other thing, that just item a note, give Kate, on Kate's comment about the change process. That's a process that we already just went through. So all the water rights listed in this agreement were the water rights that we went through the change process with the DNRC. So all of those water rights were brought under one end date, under one water right. And that was the reason for going through the change process. So as far as the DNRC, it's very fresh. This is just only a few years old that happened in 2000 and, I could be wrong, but I think it's around 15 or 17, 15 or somewhere right in there that this change process happened. And so we have I think it's a 2041 date on that water right, that all of these water rights are under that one umbrella. So we just listed those water rights in here because those are the water rights that are under that one umbrella. So again though, it's the process that you go through with the DNRC to pay attention to so that nothing is misunderstood in that process and that we can be in the room to defend the process where it went.
Why is it Lake County as the venue?
I don't even know, to tell you the truth. Our attorney and their attorney agreed on that.
That's probably a mistake, I would imagine.
Pardon me?
That could be a mistake, I believe, yeah.
Because that just makes no sense.
Well, there's a lot of people that, I mean, I don't know, when I moved here in '93, I went to Flathead County and I said, I live in Lakeside, can I see a deed of my property? And they said, well, you gotta go to Polson. So I drove all the way to Polson and down in Polson. I said, what are you doing down here? I said, well, I'm in Lakeside. They said, well, you're in Flathead County. So I went back up to Flathead County. There's a lot of people that get confused about this, it seems like, but I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, so I really can't answer it. It was our attorney and their attorney that worked on that final language of that.
I feel we should table it till we get more information and get a little bit clearer in our mind on these questions. I will move that we table it till next month so we have a little more time.
I guess I have one more question before we, I just wondered if.
Get it in before we have a second.
Timeline, is there any time issues on this?
Go
Are we
ahead.
under pressure?
Oh, the timeline is that it takes 9 to 12 months for this
Okay.
to go through the DNRC process, even to get to public, to bringing it out to the public for public comment in their process. You know, so that's the timeline. So they're obviously, that's why we worked hard to get it down here, had our attorney involved. That's why I came and met with you,
Right.
and kind of run by some of those things, but understanding, that we needed to go through this process too, so.
Yeah, all growth is painful. Will 30 days cause a significant issue?
I don't,
I know it won't for us, but,
it won't for us.
I mean, yeah.
I just, my obligation is to do all the homework and bring it to you guys for
Well,
this process.
Rodney, you've done a lot of homework,
I think
so
you did a good job on it.
don't think you're not. I
Yeah,
mean,
and they know that, they know
Yeah.
my role, right? My role
Right.
is to do the work and bring
Yep.
it to you and the public and go from there, so.
okay, would like to, I'm gonna back up a little bit, Darcy.
Okay.
Ask for a motion to either move forward or to table in a second, if that is there.
I move we table it until next meeting.
Do we have a second? I will second that. Okay. So therefore, we have a motion to table this, which we would then take a vote. If I remember my Robert's Rules of Order the correct way.
You do.
Am I right, boss?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me. All right, so the point of vote is to table for 30 days, correct? To our next meeting,
September 15th.
which is, thank you for the date, September 15th. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
No.
So we have a tie, which means the motion fails.
Okay.
Okay? You do know that, right, boss? Okay, so our next would be, do we have a motion to bring this for a vote with potential amendments? Do I have a motion to do that?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. So the motion is that we vote on this. Is there any potential amendments that we need to be voted on? Hopefully I'm going down the right path with this.
May I ask for clarification?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you tabling it for 30 days for?
We're not now.
Or for further,
Okay, so okay, I guess if it doesn't matter why you were tabling it.
They're not taking.
We're not tabling
Okay,
it now,
okay.
correct.
I just wanted to get.
So it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Okay, where was I?
Amendments.
amendment.
Yes. Do I have a motion for amendments? Well, I hope I'm doing this the right way.
And what amendment are you?
Whatever could be proposed. Somebody would make a motion and then it would get seconded and we would vote on that amendment.
This
work
is
our
in-
way through it?
this-
Am I-
Have an amendment.
Okay,
I don't have an amendment.
you don't have an amendment? I'll make an amendment. I would like to make an amendment, make a motion to an amendment to change item number 8, annual rent, to $81,500.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a second.
Mhm.
So we will do a vote on changing item number 8 to $81,500. Do all in favor say aye?
Aye.
All opposed say nay. No opposed. Motion carries. Item number 8 is changed to $81,500. Okay? All right.
We need to change the venue to Platte County. I think it's number 6, isn't
That would be an amendment.
it? Okay.
Number 18.
18.
Good point. Yeah.
Do I hear
I can make a motion to amend item 18 to be at least verified if it's supposed to be Flathead County or Lake County, but I assume it's Flathead County.
We don't know why, so that's, it's hard to say. I'm just putting in my 2 cents. I don't know why it's Lake County. If there's a reason for the DNRC to want it in Lake County, So I mean, Mark's, I guess I would say I would like that, if it was an amendment, I guess to say, does it have to be in Lake County for a reason because the DMRC wants it in Lake County? I don't know how you word that for your amendment, but it could be checked through legal, you know, via legal analysis, can it be moved to Flathead County?
Governing law of venue, this agreement shall be governed by Montana law, venue shall lie in Montana in either Lake County, I don't know what the judicial district court is, judicial district court of Lake County or Flathead County, whichever is most appropriate, and
And what?
and most appropriate, and
Correct.
Or put a period there, whichever is most appropriate.
period.
Yeah, there you go.
Were you a school teacher?
Yes. How did you know?
Okay,
I'm good with that amendment of my amendment, that's good.
that's your amendment
Yeah.
that I just
I'm good
read?
with that, yeah.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Kathy seconded. So we will vote on that amendment, change number 18, to read what we just said, was written down. It's not, it's on tape. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. We hear no nays, so the motion carries. Number 18 is changed. Okay. Are there any other items, amendments, proposals?
I don't have any.
Going once?
We didn't talk about if the water rates increase, the comparably the lease fee increases.
So if the usage rate of $2 per 1,000 gallons increases for users, the annual rent would increase accordingly. So that could be an amendment called 8-1A.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
the only question I have is because I know we're basing it on the user fee or user rate, but it's really not. Water rights
Yeah.
is not the user rate, we're not taking water, that's gonna be additionally paid. I think we should leave that alone at this point. This is a good rate for us that we just voted on, potentially on that amendment, and I would leave it at that.
Understood. Okay, last call for an amendment. Going once, going twice. I hear no calls. Okay, so we need to have a motion to vote on the water rights lease agreement as amended. We have a motion for that?
I so move.
So moved, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, there's a second. All right, so motion as modified, as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
We have one nay, the ayes carry. Okay, that's where we are at.
Good job, Tim.
You did great.
I think that was good. You managed it well. That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe I might need Robert's Rule of Order, my Christmas
No,
stuff.
you're doing great.
Only hard the first time.
Okay, so that is the next. The next section is General Manager, Staff Manager's Report. Board Governance Handbook Draft Discussion.
Let me see, Lincoln. So I think you brought copies for us, Tim, for one.
I
And
did.
again, the reason this isn't up for public comment is because it's just for discussion today.
Thank you all for your.
Thank you. Rebecca, remember to tell me to make sure I
I didn't know.
change this process before next board meeting. It's the,
table this to the next question.
Question, can I change my
Right.
own water rates to meet?
Well, again, this is just for discussion amongst the, it's just a, and I'll wait till Tim gets back. I guess.
That's not to
In my best interest.
This is the first time I've seen it.
this isn't.
It hasn't been changed from previously.
This is, well, this is what we sent you.
You know that, I know that, but I don't know.
We've never had this. This is all. Yeah. And so, yeah, it came about because of, we had been working on knowing that we were gonna get the board members potentially. And
I think it's
ways to educate board members.
You don't want to change the hard times or whatever. Maybe last year I did.
I gotta, I'm gonna have to run after.
So let's just see, how do you know I spiked up the meters getting set up?
Okay.
What happens when you get old?
This is,
But
So we'll leave it and then watch it again because I don't have my garden anymore.
Somebody told me something.
So yeah, I don't use it very much, so let's see how it goes next summer.
Maybe it's even on the planning board.
Tim,
Sorry.
I gotta take a bathroom break too.
All right, yeah.
Sorry.
Anybody else need a bathroom break?
Mrs. Bell and the apron uses a ton of water to water her lawn and hers isn't as
I don't know what that is. Is that a tenant or?
a tenant.
So are you a reporter?
I don't.
I am,
For
yeah.
whom?
I'm at the Daily, or like in the Big Four
The
people.
most she ever
Oh,
uses
okay.
I kind
is,
of do both.
see, it says June and all
And your
it
name
was
is?
rain in
Elsa.
June.
Elsa?
So I just-
Yeah.
Welcome, Elsa.
I know
Thank
she's
you.
in June, so it's just weird, but I'll just watch it.
He was just like it had a very young ground.
Yeah, last summer when it was so
Finally
hot.
denies the application.
I mean, it's been 100 degrees for 4 weeks now.
But
so
no,
I
it's
disagree
in
with that.
July, in July, absolutely.
Right, but it's like June 25th or July 25th and July 25th or
Okay.
August 25th, so there is some overlap there. And it was very, I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
except
just watch it.
development is indemnifying you for any attorneys as soon as it's
hot.
Right.
This
This
is,
is-
so yeah. Not that, I know it sounds like a lot, but,
DNRC,
and I
if
don't
they
know where you live, but I
then
can
you, it's gonna
kind
be
of
Helena.
Helena,
Showing
kind
judicial
of
district, that is,
see,
I
but
can't remember off the top of my head right now, but it's not being
it
enforced.
seems like a lot looking at it, but like, there's people
Because
with
their main office is.
smaller homes than you that
Yeah,
are
that's a good point. I was
60,000
thinking
gallons
that too.
a month when they are watering
Thank
hot and heavy, so I don't know. I can't.
I'll just look at it.
Okay.
I'm just trying
Okay.
to figure
Shall we
out
move
the-
to our next item, which is the board member governance handbook?
Yeah, and again, a little background on this. Rebecca and I have been working on versions of this for quite some time, actually, before the election even happened, because we were recognizing that it'd be nice to have something to hand a new board member type thing and be upon our processes. And so, when, then when the election happened, quite frankly, we got bogged down with other things and never fully got it put into something, right? But then once the election happened, Darcy brought up, about bylaws and things. I told Rebecca, let's just try to get this thing finished. After the last board meeting, we kind of felt some of that in the comments and stuff, that it'd be nice to have something to hand the board member that they can read through and really kind of know our processes and what the different laws are and print them out, have them a part of it. And so that's where this came from. So again, today it's just for discussion. It's not for a vote.
Work session?
It's more
Mini
discussion.
work session.
Yeah. So with that, I'll just hand it back over to you, really. I mean, because I think you've all had it to look at it so that you can make your comments. We're open to any types of suggestions or wherever it goes today to improve on it or chuck it in the garbage out there and do something different.
Okay. So I don't know, 2 meetings ago, we kind of had, maybe it was last meeting, conversations about bylaws had come up. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know either that you guys had been working on this and everything. So when I saw it, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work. It's like 60 pages you guys put together. So in the meantime, I had actually went out and looked at some other water districts, and there are a couple out there that have bylaws. There are a lot that don't have bylaws. So it's kind of a mixed match. I went and looked across the state. Not that we are in a bad position where we're at, but could we do better? Probably. I think we're still following laws and stuff like that, which is referenced in here. So we've had those conversations about Montana code annotated. Are we following the rules? Are we not following the rules? That is incorporated in here, which I think is a great thing because it helps put it into one document. Searching for Montana code annotated is really difficult. Unless you do it and you know what you're doing. It jumps and skips you around in a lot of places. So having this in here, I think, is a great asset. But it also gives some good information, to what we're all about, and what's the hierarchy, and how the Constitution fits in with it, and as well as the Montana laws, and what's our duties as board directors, and what's the duties of staff, and how do we deal with escalations in the grocery store because somebody's ticked off at Rodney. Or because they can't get to go get their beer because the road was closed down mistakenly. This helps us guide that for all of us. So I like it because of that. And I actually think you guys did a really good job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's great.
The different tweaks, I'd be interested to hear if any other board members have some tweaks to it. We can do that. And then maybe some conversation about if we want to come and make this and adopt it as a document that we would use going forward. I'd like to hear what you guys all have to say.
Just 7 pages, the rest is the appendices.
Oh, okay. You still did a lot of work.
I think it's great. I think you put a lot of work into it. I think it's great. It gives a lot of clarity and direction. The only thing I thought we could add a little about is maybe just the, clarifying quorum in it, just because I think that's important to have, which we already know, but
Clarify what, Darcy,
the
sorry.
quorum
Oh,
requirement, and I think it's great. I think, just a few little tweaks about clarifying things would be good, but, I thought it was a great help, and it, I think, helpful for new board members especially, just to kind of give you a little bit of a roadmap. So I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time.
One item I think we should take out of it is in the appendix D, telephone numbers, personal telephones, especially staff. I hope this is not your personal phone numbers in here. I don't think you deserve to have your phone numbers out in public land. So, you already probably have Facebook accounts, and you probably already get lambasted with those maybe. But I think the board members' phone numbers should be in here, yes. But I don't think the staff should be.
oh, I see.
Yeah, so
Thanks
you
for
guys have those
clarifying.
on
Yeah.
your election applications. I guess I didn't think about the
Yeah.
staff ones.
Yeah, I
It's
think
on
that
there
should
now,
be
but
private.
I have seen in other places where the board gets a package that has the individual board phone numbers on it, staff, but
I think we need it as a
But then-
board.
the public does not have.
This,
Potential.
isn't
But
this
this
a
is for
board
the board.
document?
Yeah,
It's
it's a board
meant to be a
document.
Yes,
board
I-
document.
It's not for
Post
anybody
on it,
else.
yeah.
I know, but it's
Smart.
already been put out in
Yeah.
internet world.
Well, it's
Right.
already been on the agenda, but,
Right.
Yeah.
I
No.
mean,
Yeah, I don't think you guys, your personal phone numbers deserve to be out there. And maybe not even the attorneys, maybe their names and an email address. Maybe add the board member email addresses once we get our new email addresses put together.
We should ask the attorney. We should do. No, overall, I think it's good. It's a big piece of paper. There's no punishment for us in here.
Yeah. Do we maybe want to have a little bit more, obviously, we've got it in our hands now, we can read it.
Yeah.
If we come up with some changes or something, email Rodney or Rebecca, and then maybe, do we want to look at towards an adoption of this, maybe?
Or,
Thing.
well, I'm wondering how that would look, because when if you're gonna email your changes, you would wanna do it not to everybody, it would be to Rebecca and myself individually.
Yes, correct,
Right.
correct.
And then we could take and compile those.
Compile those into
changes,
draft
right. and then we could
2-3 or
bring it
whatever.
up for
Yeah,
another discussion, because there's not, we could do another discussion time, say, hey, we've received
yeah,
some changes and things that people recommended, and here's what those look like
yeah,
in there, and then then we can have one more discussion maybe
okay,
at next board meeting, and then look at if all those changes are in there, everybody feels good, then we can put it on for accepting it at the next board meeting, or
Right.
at the October board meeting or something.
yeah.
If that works.
I just see a few things that could be eliminated.
And, yeah, so, let.
Like the
Rod-
scenarios, there's every,
Yeah,
I'm not sure we need that, but perhaps we do, but.
Is the
we've all been
the
around
grocery
the
store
block once or
scenarios in
twice,
there,
so-
right?
That really happens.
Well, some of these
That
things
really
are
helps.
public
I know it
spirit,
sure
so
did.
Well, yeah.
we're literally putting them in there because in a small town like this, those are some of the things that go on. I mean, it's like, it's legit, so,
Maybe you should change one,
um,
when visiting the local brewery.
on my third glass of wine.
Sure the road is open.
right.
But that's, as board members, that's to be expected, so.
That's the worst thing that ever happens. We're lucky.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
Thank you so much, it looks great, thank you.
Well, thanks.
and then, move on to the last item here, board meeting time discussion. This is kind of just the discussion. We had brought it up in previous meeting about changing the board meeting from an afternoon to some other time of day, leaving the day the same. I kind of did, there's some boards, right now we're doing 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Big Fork does it 6 PM in the afternoon. Hungry Horse, I think, is 6 PM as well. We could do what Evergreen does, Evergreen Sewer District, which is 7 AM.
Always breakfast is served, that's fine, talking.
Or we could leave it the same. Is this something that we would like to propose? Because we're changing it, we would have to, I believe, vote on it, and we would have to publish it probably 30 days prior. So what's the feeling on that, is this something we should bring up on our next meeting as a voting item?
I still don't think we should change it. Particularly the winters here are very, very early, the darkness comes very early.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's fair to Rebecca and Rodney that they have to deal with that. This has never been at 6 o'clock at night, my understanding, since I always been in the middle of the afternoon. We would have to pay overtime, I mean, the employees are required to stay here. I don't know that that's written in the
No, they would,
contract, but
they would get paid, or it would be up to Rodney's discretion on how, basically Rodney and
Shift time or
Rebecca,
whatever,
yeah, how to shift it
And I
or
think we
compensate
probably have-
for it or pay for it, yes.
It is hard for those of us that work to do it in the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you already know that, I'm probably for the afternoon too. Not that we've always done it that way, but we used to have some people here in the evenings, and then eventually some of the older fellows on the board changed it to the afternoon, and it's always been in the afternoon. I always believe that the people that have something, they will be here. They would be here in the evening, they would be in the afternoon. I just felt the same way with the staff. It's already a lot of work in my view, so having to stay here at night, to me, it's not the best thing either. Otherwise, you know, I mean, I probably wouldn't be opposed to moving it like to 4 o'clock or something, you know? But just a discussion at this point.
Yeah, we don't have a time, and we don't have the time, but yeah, I can see where you're going at. I just know, my previous life, we did it in the evenings, and I know we'd always had, everything in the county seemed to be during the day, so we used to always complain that, you know, it's hard for us to take time off to be able to go visit a meeting as a citizen, so it's just one of those things I've thought about, is it just gives that little extra thing out there saying, hey, the public, your voice is important. We'll try to accommodate your schedule if we can. It's just my thought process. So, like I say, just if we want, we can put it on the next agenda, and we can have a time proposed, and it could pass or it could fail. And yes, Rodney.
Landon asked me to pass on his comment about that.
Okay, yeah.
You know, when I talked to Landon about being on the board back in the past, he was interested. He said, I gotta go back and wait, because he works too, right? He's
Yeah.
the engineer for the railroad. He had to go back and make sure things are gonna work with the time and everything. And after doing that, he did, right?
Right.
He just said to let you know that he would probably miss a lot of the meetings if it was put into the evening. So he just
Okay.
wanted you to know.
And I don't know what his work schedule is.
It changes.
It
And
does.
he said, I'll probably miss half the meetings, is what he said, actually, his exact words.
Okay. It's good.
I've only been on the board for 2.5 years, I think, but I don't recall us ever not having a quorum. I don't see where it ever was a problem for anyone. I mean, there were certain people that knew they were gone during months in the winter,
Right.
and, you know.
And
accommodate
I've
that,
missed a
and-
couple too,
Yeah,
just being out of town.
it's kind of like
The communication is good and helps. I mean, a lot of times, yeah, Rebecca and I'm like, you better check with so-and-so, because we got 2 board members that aren't gonna be here, so we gotta make sure the other 3 are, right? So we usually try to manage that if you at least tell us you're not gonna.
Right.
Landon's today was just, you know, his schedule, they called him in, it was
Right.
spur of the moment.
Yeah.
So that's it.
All right, yeah, and then like I say, maybe it's maybe 4 o'clock or different things like that.
what is your work schedule?
Mine's 8 to 5,
Yeah, okay.
it's 8, sometimes 8 to 6.
Are you free to come and go pretty much, or you could plan things for,
I
this is
have
only
to-
1 day of the month.
I have to- Yeah, I have to take time off to do it essentially. So, yeah, definitely have to plan ahead.
Just to let you guys know, I'm a morning person, so
Yes.
if that tells you anything, I'm not an evening person.
7 a.m. Tells me
Oh,
7
wait a
a.m.
minute.
I'm a morning person.
I could
too,
go in the
and
morning.
stuff, right?
You are here at 7 a.m. I've seen your truck before.
Yeah.
See, I'm just thinking,
Okay,
it's 7 a.m., but I want to come in the snow, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have what Landon in, but
Yeah.
let's, I guess let's just be true to it. Let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay,
And then we can come up with some proposed times,
yeah.
and then we can get this settled.
Totally sense.
All right. If there's nothing else from anybody, I will adjourn the meeting for today.
You did great.
Meeting
Next
adjourned.
board